unsure, nervous, insecure little guy, you know, but he also wants to be dominant. We've talked about that in the past. That combination leads to dogs who overreact, get themselves in trouble. They need a leader, but they try to lead in absence of one, and that causes a lot of stress on a dog like him. And then he's left to make decisions with a stressful mind and an insecure mind, and they're often leads to bad judgment. And then those bad judgments become habitual patterns, and then you got a dog who's just cray-cray, no matter what. You know, guest comes in, this is what we do, we just bark at him, doesn't matter who it is. Everybody's a threat. You know, everybody's a threat to an insecure dog, but if you can get somebody to lead him, what happens is somebody comes to the door and he looks at that person, the leader, his human, to decipher whether or not that's going to be somebody who's a threat or not. And if you're a good leader, what you tell your dog is, you don't mind any business who's coming in and out of the door. I do. And that's the cool thing about a leader is you can claim things. I can claim this food and say, that's mine, don't touch it. And he'll respect that. I can also claim the people coming in the door. I can claim the space in this house. I can tell them to go over into this corner and not move. The leader has control over the pack. And so that's what he needs in his life. You know, not just training, not just commands. He needs somebody who uses the training and leads him through his day. Because he has trust issues with strangers. You know what I mean? And he has, with the one person that is it just one person that owns him, or does he have a couple, two? People that he's familiar with, his family. I believe he probably trusts them, but he doesn't follow them. You know, they're not leading. He's just kind of he's in the situation and he's making the decisions that he's going to make. He's not allowing them to make the decisions for him. So with that switch, he's going to go through a stage of, we're seeing it here, and you'll see it at home, go through a stage of repatterning, which is, I used to do this and now I'm doing this, which can be anywhere for a couple weeks. You know, a dog transitions into the new way of living in that house, which means he's going to make some of the old mistakes, get corrected, and then directed as to what he should be doing instead. A couple weeks in, he starts making these choices on his own. He starts self-regulating. Now we keep doing that for a few months, and we have a dog whose new default is what we want it to be, his new default response to the everyday triggers of his life. And now we have a dog who understands what his role is. So that's what we do. But what we have to do here is we have to be the first to get him to learn the commands, and then also open up to us, trust us, build the relationship that we then want to transfer to the owners. So starts with a little bit of trust. So we do some food here, we eat as a pack, and then we're going to probably go and do a little hike. I think that's a good way to integrate a member into the pack, is to travel. They do that a lot with each other. So if we can get into a routine of going for a little hike every morning, eating every morning, and then even doing some duration place or something like that, where we relax together, then we form a pack within within a dog like this, a week, we're a pack, right? And then he lets his guard down. It's a pack that's run by me and Julie, right? So he just goes with the flow. And having another dog here, so he wouldn't take that food from me by myself. Bringing another dog into the picture, feeding, asking him if he wants it, he doesn't want it, giving it to Riggins, doing that a few times, now he wants the food. So it's good to have other dogs around to help him feel comfortable. He sees that the other dogs feel comfortable. Plus, he doesn't want Riggins eating that bacon. so that helps too. So we're just gonna make him feel a little bit more comfortable, and that way it can be a smoother process. Today's been the best day so far as his energy. He's still unsure. You can see, especially with me, I haven't been doing the majority of the work, Julie has. But he's, believe it or not, softer. even though he still feels a little tense, it's heading in the right direction. So we continue this for the next few days, and I imagine sometime next week we're going to see a dog who's feeling much better. I'm a firm believer in using the pack to help dogs who need rehab, who have aggression towards humans, who have aggression towards dogs. I believe using the pack mentality helps them overcome these things. And one of the interesting things that I have found to change the way a dog feels about you is if you get a dog who's not quite trusting you. A lot of dogs trust very easily, but some of them don't, like this guy here. Ben doesn't. I have in the past had great success with taking a dog. We're on like day 4, day 5. He knows I'm not going to harm him at this point because I'm feeding him, I'm letting him out to use the bathroom, I'm putting him back in the kennel, but he's still hanging on. He's still not sure of me and he doesn't quite trust me. So then what I do, we have like a little bit of training under our belt. We have the recall, we have a little bit of a walk, we have some basic stuff. I used to bring them out onto a mountain trail where I used to live. And now we're in uncharted territory. It's just me, that dog, and my personal dog. And as soon as we get into uncharted territory, 2 things happen. The dog gets excited, usually, and oftentimes there's a time where they're unsure of the territory. They're a little nervous, because a lot of these dogs don't see the outside world, because they're too dangerous. So when they get out there, it's like, whoa, where am I? I don't know where I am. And then they look around and they say, I know this guy though, and I know that dog. They're familiar, and now we become a source of comfort out in the wilderness where it feels a little bit more dangerous. And we hike together. We're hiking, we're doing more than hiking though, you see? And so that bonds you. And then you go home, do whatever you have to do there. And the next day you wake up and you do it again. And so you're feeding the dog, you're traveling with the dog, and you're putting the dog in a situation where they feel uncomfortable in the environment because it's new. But you're there. You're now a source of comfort. Changes the way the dog feels about you. Now all of a sudden you enter that kennel room, you get a little tail wag, right? You had an adventure together, it got a little scary, and you survived. It bonds you. Just like it bonds people when people go through a little bit of adversity together, and then they make it out together on the other side, they have a bond. We can replicate this with a lot of these dogs because a simple hike can be nerve-wracking. Sometimes I've seen dogs who are so skittish, they step on a stick and what the heck was that? They don't know. So if you have this type of situation, you bring them and you put them in a place where they feel uncomfortable, be out and exposed in the world, but you're familiar, you're automatically going to be a source of comfort. And if you help guide them through the situation and they listen to you, even if they don't listen to you and you guys have a little bit of a moment, at the end of the day, you come out on the other end, everybody's okay, and we go home and we do it again the next day. It forms a bond, it forms trust, it's organic, it's real, and it's something you can't sell to somebody. So that's why we're taking these guys on hikes. That's why we're doing rituals like claiming food and feeding them and showing them, I'm gonna feed him and you can't have this food until I give it to you. All these natural things, it's putting a dog in a stressful situation. You're doing your best to control the situation and then showing him that if he follows you, everything works out. It bonds you. It bonds you. So it's just like any other relationship, human to human or human to dog. It's the same. You go through some shit together, you come out the other end, it's a stronger relationship. So, trying to keep him comfy all the time and trying my hardest not to make him feel at all uneasy isn't going to do him any good. What I want to do, teach him some basic commands and then go out in the world and start using them. And then he's going to see me as a source of, as a resource. He's going to see me as a leader. He's somebody who can guide him when he's unsure, somebody that he knows for a fact when he doesn't know how to respond, I can show him. And it's not always pretty. Sometimes the dog doesn't want to listen to you and you have a fight, but then you work through that. And after the argument, I don't know if you guys ever been into arguments with people, good friends, spouses, where the argument gets pretty heated But after the argument's finished, you both sit down and say, we needed to do that. And now you feel even closer to one another. After an argument, you feel even closer because now things are cleared up. It's out, it's done, let's move on. And oftentimes a lot of dogs come here, they're carrying a lot of stress, they're carrying a lot of misbeliefs, misconcepts of the world, like superstitions. And sometimes they just need to, they just go, click, just one too much. And then after that, it's like a weight off the shoulders. It's gone. That's in the past. All that stuff you've been carrying with you is gone now. Now let's rebuild. Now let's show you how to carry the weight and how to avoid having to carry so much weight. It's called following. And it's a good life. So, yeah, in a nutshell, that's why we do the things that we do. That's why we bring them out on these little adventures. I used to call them adventures because it kind of is an adventure to the dog. You know, you're going out, getting into a sticky situation, and you're getting out of it with your pack, and it's a good way to bond you. So that's what we'll be doing today.